What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 13. Boom. Get it? Boom. Explosions. Simple title. Works. Unlike some of the other titles from other shows. But yeah, this was a fairly interesting episode, and I gotta admit, one of the things about this episode shows why I enjoy this show much more than other shows, and that is the whole story with Coulson and Mac and what they're up to. They find the woman that Ada was modeled after and are trying to use her to get to Radcliffe. Well, ultimately, nothing really happens in that respect. We do find out more about the woman that Ada was modeled after. I can't really remember her name at the moment, but we find out more about her. We find out she had a brain tumor, and Radcliffe was trying to figure out a way to fix that. And because of May, he's figured out how to use this program that will, what's the term I'm looking for? It's not a program. It's more simulation, and it puts you in this just heavenly place. Just where you can live on peacefully. So all of that is interesting, but it doesn't really further our main plot, which is Coulson trying to find Radcliffe. And yet, despite that, I still really enjoy that part of the story. Obviously the main story is where a lot of the focus is, but this part, it feels like they're trying to get to Radcliffe, and the only information they find out this episode is May is still alive. But we already knew that, because we've seen that. So it doesn't really affect anything from our point of view. So why does this work when other shows it doesn't? Because other shows, it feels like they put so much time and effort into building up one specific thing and then not following through with it, that it kind of makes the story feel pointless. This one, even though it feels like it's building up to they're trying to find Radcliffe, they're trying to find out where he is, it's not like it's building up they're going to find Radcliffe this episode. It's not like it's building up they're going to catch him this episode. I never got that feeling. But we find out a lot more information about Radcliffe, about what happened to him, about how Ada was built. We find out more information about how Coulson's feeling right now, what he's going through at the moment. So yeah, even though we didn't really get anywhere as far as the Finding Radcliffe story goes, it was still an interesting story to tell. It was still interesting to see that part of it, to see the woman that Ada was modeled after. All of that was really interesting. And on top of that, the woman playing Ada, as if you couldn't tell she was a good actor just by her robotic expressions and everything as Ada, to see her playing a human now, it's just like, yeah, she's definitely a good actor. She's even got, I still can't tell if it's Scottish or British accent that they have, but I think I want to say it's British, but I could be wrong. Sometimes, whenever I try to mock a British or a Scottish accent, every time I try to impersonate it, it always comes out British instead. They're kind of similar at times, but there's also other things that you can tell. I can't tell. Anyway, but that's that storyline, everything going on with Coulson and Mac. Then we cut to the other story, which is obviously the main story for this one. We have the Russian, the superior guy. He sends his Shockley, it was his name. I guess it's his right-hand man, possibly. I'm not really sure, but he sends him with a Terrigen crystal, which has been modified. I find out later, because at first I was just like, why is he able to touch it? Is he Inhuman? What's going on? But then whenever Shockley goes in the office and breaks it, and nobody gets affected except for him because he's an Inhuman, I'm just like, okay, so it has been modified. I guess he did say something about that. I guess I missed the line, but yeah, it's been modified to where it doesn't affect humans. It only affects Inhumans. And so Shockley goes in, breaks the Terrigen crystal, and nothing happens at first. Then all of a sudden he becomes Inhuman, and then explosion. The office blows up. Just like, she's not dead. She can't be dead. That would just be too simple. It'd be way too easy. That wouldn't make any sense. How would they kill off Senator Nadeer that easily? She's been such a big character for this season. To kill her off like that, news report comes on, among the bodies, Senator Nadeer has been found. I'm like, okay, wow, that's interesting. And it kind of cements the fact that I think Radcliffe and the Superior, I think they're going to be the main villains for this season. I think Nadeer was kind of a false villain thrown in there just to stir up some controversy with the Inhumans and stuff like that. But it was just kind of shocking to me. I didn't think they would kill her off right now. I thought she was going to maybe die at the end of the season. So to see that she dies halfway through the second half of the season, I was just like, okay, well, that's interesting. I mean, it's not. I think it was handled very well. It was very clear that it wasn't really of her own making. It was this Russian guy who wanted. I guess he wanted to test and see if, because her brother was Inhuman, he wanted to make sure she wasn't Inhuman as well. But finding out that what's his face, Shockley, ended up being Inhuman, that was kind of a shock. Anyway, but also his power was just kind of crazy. He could blow himself up and then reform his body. Just like, wow, that is impressive. So ultimately, he and a bunch of the other guys, they kind of fight back, but end up being captured. We all know, we've seen this before. I mean, the Joker did in The Dark Knight. That's the most prominent one I can think of at the moment. But this whole capture yourself or let yourself be captured on purpose, so that way you can kind of sabotage them from the inside. So he's trying to blow himself up, but Daisy knocks him back at first, so that shocks him for a moment. I'm really playing this shock angle. I don't know why. And then Director Mace and Fitz try to hold him down, and then Gemma opens up the whatever it is, the thing that holds the Inhumans, toss him in there, drop it out of the plane just before he explodes. I'm kind of surprised. I was thinking we were going to see like the explosion inside of the thing and then him reform. So the fact that he was so powerful that he was able to blow up that box, I'm just like, wow, his explosions must be very, very powerful then. Because they didn't even talk about that. They didn't talk about the fact that this thing is supposed to house like the strongest Inhumans, and he managed to blow it up from the inside. How? How is that possible? I want to know how that's possible. Maybe they'll talk about it in the next episode. I'm not sure, but I don't know. It just seemed weird to me. I was thinking there's no way he can actually blow it up. So when he did, I was rather shocked. Anyway, so he reforms himself back on the ground through some pretty interesting CGI. I mean, just watching as the bones form together and his skeleton is walking now, and then all of a sudden the muscles get onto him, and then finally the skin and the hair. I'm just like, wow, that's pretty detailed. That was very interesting. So then he hitches a ride with the guy. He goes to this hotel, calls the superior, lets him know that he's still going to deliver S.H.I.E.L.D. to him. And so then he sets up for a showdown with Daisy. Daisy is trying to figure out how to stop him from exploding, but instead she figures out how to explode him. And so she just keeps blowing him up time and time again. And it doesn't seem like the thought was they're trying to make him weaker. Like trying to make him exhausted from all the reforming. And it's funny because it actually worked against him, because Daisy using her powers caused her to become weaker. But Fitz and Simmons show up with this little containment thing, so after he tries to reform himself, they turn on this fan that sucks him inside, and then that's it. They've captured him. The other part of it, Director Mace is feeling kind of, I guess, unnecessary, unuseful for the team, because without his super strength, he doesn't think he can do anything. So he's trying to figure out his purpose this entire episode, and you can kind of see where it's going from the beginning. He's going to ultimately sacrifice himself because that's what he feels like he needs to do. That's what he feels like his purpose is on the team. And so as the Superior and his men are showing up trying to capture them, he decides he's going to step in and distract them so that they can't take everybody. And so they take him in, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen to him now, because one of the reasons they want him so bad is because he's Inhuman. Or so they think, because he's not Inhuman. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen once they find out that he's not Inhuman, that he's just got this super strength serum. I'm worried that they're going to use the super strength serum themselves, and that would be bad. But yeah, he ends up captured, and that's the end of that story. As far as the team, we see them, like, they capture Shockley, and that's pretty much where it ends for them. Coulson and Mac, and they're on one of S.H.I.E.L.D. planes, and they're flying back. And like I said, Coulson figures out May's alive based on what Radcliffe said. And then finally, as far as May goes, we see her at the very end. Radcliffe actually shuts off the life support for his former wife, and he says that her consciousness will live on in the simulation. I don't know how that works. Just without knowing exactly how the consciousness works in this universe, it's hard to say what happens after they die. Where does your consciousness go? Does it leave the body? Does it just cease to exist? Apparently, he found a way to trap the consciousness inside the simulation so that she can live on forever inside of the simulation. I'm just like, huh. Well, that's interesting. It sounds like some weird Doctor Strange stuff, like them leaving their bodies and stuff like that. But it's kind of interesting to see that he just decided to kill her. And then we see May in her own simulation, and we see her start to shake a little bit like she's frustrated or agitated for some reason. So I'm curious to see where that's going. Of course, the other interesting thing I forgot to talk about, Ada, we see her after she finds out she was modeled after a human. You could see the look on her face, and just by her, not really expressions because she's a robot, but you could see by how she reacts to it. Her touching the screen, and then at the end, whenever they turn off the life support for Radcliffe's former wife, you can see her take the necklace with the ring. I don't know what the ring is for, but she takes it off of her and puts it on herself. So I'm wondering if we're going to go into some more Pinocchio stuff here where she wants to be human because she found out she was based off of a human. And I guess if androids are able to form connections, I guess we're going to find out if she wants to have a connection with Radcliffe like he had with his wife. I'm curious to see where that's going. I don't know quite yet. It's interesting, and that's one of the fun things about this whole Ada android thing, is that we don't really know exactly what she's thinking, because we can't know. She's an android, so it's hard to think about what she could possibly be thinking about. We can't read her facial expressions because, her facial expressions aren't really there. They're always looking robotic and mechanical. So I love to, theorize about what's going on inside of her mechanical head. What exactly is going on up there? What is the thought process or simulation of a thought process that she has? I want to know, and I'm really excited to find out where this is all going, if she's going to end up turning against Radcliffe or something along those lines. A lot of interesting things, but overall, this episode was really good. The fight scenes, as always, were awesome. The CGI was really good in this one as well. Just watching Shockley blow himself up over and over again, it was a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, it's just, the story's good, the acting is good, the CGI, the action, it's all really good, and I'm loving where it's going right now. It's got a lot going for it. Obviously, there was an episode this past week that I missed that I gotta get caught up on, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to find out what's gonna happen next. So, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know, we can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.